Making a make-ahead makes sense. Makes sense. Coming right up on Weekend at the Cottage. Welcome to Weekend at the Cottage. I'm Nick Vanoilovich with a real time-saving recipe. Let's say it's the holidays. You're in the city, you've got family staying for the weekend. Maybe you're up here in cottage country and the place is jammed with guests. This one recipe is sure to please. I'm going to show you how to make a make-ahead ultimate breakfast casserole. It is so delicious. After watching this video, don't forget, you can reference the full recipe at weekendatthecottage.com. Subscribe to our website when you're visiting. You can watch this video again and again, hope you will, on our dedicated YouTube channel. Subscribe to that as well. And then finally find us on your favorite social media platforms like Pinterest, the Gram, and Facebook. The beauty of this recipe is that it's a make-ahead, so we do most of the heavy lifting, so to speak, the day before when we assemble all of the ingredients. Let me show you how easy this recipe is to make. I'm going to start with a loaf of challah bread. This is a sweet egg bread, and I'm slicing it into 1/4-inch slices very thinly. We're then going to take the slices of challah a few at a time, turn them on the side, take a sharp knife, and we're going to cut away the outer crusts. We're going to take those crusty crusts and we're going to roughly chop them and then transfer them to a parchment-lined baking sheet. They then go into a warm oven, let's say 300 degrees for about 10 minutes. We're going to toast them up and then we're going to zip them up in a food processor to create challah breadcrumbs. You're going to need these on day 2. You can reserve 1 cup of the challah breadcrumbs to the side. You can set the challah slices to the side for a second. We're just going to do a quick chop of a couple of ingredients, shallot and artichokes. You're going to need 1/2 cup of chopped shallots and 1/2 cup of marinated artichokes. Chop those ingredients, set them to the side while we pull together our creamy, eggy custard. Into a large measure, I'm cracking 6 eggs, then adding 1 cup of 35% cream. Let's add 2 cups of whole milk. 2 unexpected ingredients that work perfectly in this recipe, 1 tablespoon of a Pommery or grain mustard, plus 1 teaspoon of dry savory. Grab a whisk and whisk everything together. Place your custard to the side. Now we're ready to assemble our casserole. I have a 9x13 casserole dish. Lightly butter your casserole dish, and then we're going to add the bottom layer of challah slices. If you need to cut the slices down so they fill the bottom, that's perfect. Now, one of the things I love most about this recipe is the ham and cheese. I'm using thin slices of a cooked Italian ham called prosciutto cotto. I'm just going to lay slices of ham on top of the challah. Now comes that cheese. I'm using Gruyere. Thin slices, we're going to add the Gruyere on top. Let's sprinkle on a handful of the chopped shallots. Let's add a handful of our chopped artichokes, and now we repeat. We're going to add another layer of the challah bread, and then back with our cooked ham, followed by our slices of Gruyere cheese, followed by a sprinkle of shallots, and then the artichoke. We're going to finish with a top layer of the challah bread. Now we take our custard, give it a quick whisk, and then just slowly pour it into your casserole. It'll go down in between the cracks of the bread, down along the sides. It'll start to get soaked up by everything. Give it a stir towards the end. You'll see a little bit of that grainy Pommery mustard go across the top. We're going to cover our casserole dish with wrap and then refrigerate the casserole overnight. The make-ahead component of this recipe is done. Now you can go to bed and get a good night's sleep. But the next morning, when you wake up, you're gonna feel like $1,000,000, and I bet you look like $1,000,000 too. Let's head to stove top. Turn the oven on to 350 degrees. My oven has one of those vents at the back, so I can melt 2 tablespoons of butter. I'm gonna need that in a minute. You can also melt your butter in a little pan or in the microwave. Remember those breadcrumbs. I'm gonna transfer them into a bowl with 1 cup of grated Parmesan. I'm gonna toss those 2 ingredients together. I then drizzle on that melted butter, Toss that together. We're gonna take the wrap off the casserole and then sprinkle that cheesy, breadcrumby, buttery mix on top. We're ready to bake the ultimate breakfast casserole. It goes into the oven for exactly, trust me on this, 55 minutes. When it comes out of the oven, it kind of climbs a little bit, almost above the edge of the casserole dish. It is so fabulous, smells pretty fantastic. Let it sit for about 5 minutes, which is kind of like the cue to everybody hanging out at the cottage or in your home. They're gonna be up about this point because something smells really fabulous. This casserole. Now you're gonna take a sharp knife. We're cutting the casserole into squares, and you should be able to get 12 squares. So it's not a huge portion. Small is the way to go with this very rich breakfast idea. How to enjoy it? This is what I want you to do. A dollop of Dijon mustard, I know, run with me on this, and then a drizzle of pure Canadian maple syrup. The only way to enjoy our ultimate breakfast casserole. I hope I've inspired you to make this make ahead breakfast idea. Now it all makes sense, doesn't it? It'll make even more sense when you try it. It's pretty amazing. Until next time. So creamy. Oh, this is so amazing. I got goosebumps everywhere. Goosebumps.